The paradox of I am that unlocks everything you desire. Introduction. What if two words could change your entire reality? Not I want, not I wish, not I hope. Two words that command the universe and rewrite the script of your life. This is the story of I am, the most powerful creative phrase in existence, and it's the key to unlocking everything you truly desire. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The two most powerful words. We spend the majority of our precious lives in a state of continuous, unending pursuit. We are taught to chase after goals, to run towards our dreams, and to hunt for our desires, firmly believing that our ultimate happiness is located just beyond the horizon of our next great achievement. From our earliest days, we are submerged in a culture that teaches us a simple but exhausting equation. Effort equals results, and more effort equals more results. To have more in your bank account, you must do more at your job. To be seen as more successful, you must try harder than the person next to you. This relentless race of doing, trying, and forcing is the hidden source of the deep anxiety and chronic exhaustion that plagues modern society. We find ourselves pushing against the world with all our might, hoping that it will finally bend to our will, yet so often we feel as if we are trying to swim up a raging waterfall. But what if I told you that the greatest and most profound power you will ever possess is not found in this frantic chase at all? What if this magnificent power is found not in a shout, but in a whisper, not in force, but in a simple, quiet, and deeply felt declaration? The two words I am represent the master key that allows you to shift your entire existence from a state of desperate chasing to a state of graceful and effortless attracting. These words are not a polite request you make to some distant and impersonal force, crossing your fingers and hoping for a positive response that may or may not come. They are, in fact, a direct and undeniable statement of fact to the most powerful, creative, and obedient part of your own magnificent mind. This is the grand secret that has been woven into the fabric of ancient texts, whispered in the halls of mystery schools, and embedded in global spiritual traditions, for thousands upon thousands of years, waiting for you to rediscover it. Your conscious mind, the part of you that is hearing and processing these words at this very moment, is the logical thinker, the ever-present doubter, the part of you that makes plans and strategies. But it is your much larger and far more powerful subconscious mind that holds the true creative force, the director's chair, the unseen architect that designs and builds the world you experience every single day. To understand its power, you must think of your subconscious mind as a perfectly loyal and infinitely powerful servant, like a genie in a bottle who is bound only to you. This servant does not possess the ability to argue with you, it has no capacity to judge your requests, and it has absolutely no sense of humor or irony. It takes everything you say as a literal command. It simply and unquestioningly accepts whatever you, its master, state to be the truth of your reality. And then it immediately begins to mobilize all the forces of the universe to make that truth manifest in your physical world. It is the silent and tireless director of all your automatic behaviors, your deepest and most ingrained beliefs, your body's autonomic functions like your heartbeat, and your immediate emotional reactions to life. When you utter the seemingly harmless phrase, "I want to be happy," you are sending a very precise and clear command to this loyal servant. You are in that moment making a powerful declaration that happiness is something you do not currently possess, that it is something separate from you, something that exists in a future you have not yet reached. The servant hears this command, and its only directive becomes to maintain this state of wanting happiness, not of actually possessing it. The universe, which always mirrors your inner state, then diligently rearranges itself to provide you with more and more experiences of wanting, of searching, of feeling that happiness is just around the corner, perfectly matching the command you have given. Now take a moment and feel the profound and earth-shattering shift that occurs when you consciously change your declaration from wanting to being. When you stand firm and state with deep feeling and unshakable conviction, "I am happy." This is a completely different command, operating on a completely different level of reality. You are no longer asking or wishing or hoping. You are declaring a present tense, undeniable fact about your existence. Your subconscious servant hears this potent new order. Command received and understood. The master is happy. and it immediately begins to mobilize all of its vast and limitless resources to align your inner and outer worlds with this new declared truth. It will begin to subtly change your perceptions, so you notice the good that is already around you. It will guide your actions to be more joyful, and it will literally alter your energetic signature to attract people and circumstances that resonate with the state of being happy. This is the fundamental difference, the great divide, between begging for scraps from the universe's table and sitting at the head of the table as the one who commands the feast. One is a position of perceived weakness, of separation and of lack, while the other is a position of absolute power, of unity and of presence. Your entire life, everything you see, feel, and experience up until this very moment is a perfect, flawless, and three-dimensional printout of your most dominant and most frequently repeated "I am" statements. Every relationship you have ever had, your exact financial situation, every single success and every single failure has been meticulously orchestrated by the silent commands you have been feeding your subconscious mind, whether you were aware of it or not. When you look at your reflection in the mirror and let out a sigh, thinking to yourself, "I am so tired and old," you are not just making an observation. You are casting a powerful spell upon your own body. In that moment, you are commanding your trillions of cells to operate in a state of fatigue and to accelerate their aging process. When you open your wallet or look at your bank balance and feel that familiar pang of dread, thinking, "I am always broke," you are giving a direct and unambiguous order to the universe to continue providing you with the experience of being broke. These are not just casual, throwaway thoughts that have no power. They are profoundly creative acts, the very building blocks of your reality. You are a divine creator, a powerful spiritual being having a temporary human experience, and your words and feelings are the magic wands you wield every second of every day. For far too long, you have been waving this wand unconsciously and erratically, creating a life by default, a reality based on the old negative programming you inherited from your family, your culture, and your past experiences. The glorious, liberating, and life-altering news is that you are and always have been the captain of your own ship. You can walk up to the helm at any moment you choose, take firm hold of the wheel, and begin to issue new, conscious, and life-affirming commands. You do not need to ask for anyone's permission to reclaim this power, for it was yours from the very beginning. You do not need to wait for the external world to change first, for the world is only a mirror of what you hold within. The change, the revolution, the great awakening begins inside of you, with the conscious, deliberate, and masterful use of the two most powerful words in the entire human language, I am. This is your sacred birthright, the divine power to define yourself and, in the very act of defining yourself, to define the world you experience. Starting today, you will learn to stop being a passive observer or a victim of your circumstances and to step into your true role as the master artist of your destiny. You will finally learn to speak the native language of creation, a language that your powerful subconscious mind and the responsive universe have been patiently waiting to hear from you. This journey is about far more than just thinking positive thoughts. It is about a profound and permanent shift in your core identity, from a person to whom things happen to the person who is the conscious cause of what happens, all through the magnificent power of their own state of being. Chapter 2. The Paradox of Being, Not Doing. Herein lies the great and subtle paradox that has kept the secret of true creative power locked away from the vast majority of people for centuries. We are born into and live our lives within a world that relentlessly glorifies action, that celebrates the hustle culture, and that conditions us to believe our personal worth is directly measured by our level of productivity and our list of accomplishments. We are programmed from childhood with the deeply ingrained belief that in order to get something, we must first do something, and usually do it with great effort. To achieve wealth, you must work harder and longer hours than anyone else. To find a loving partner, you are told you must put yourself out there constantly, swipe through endless profiles, go on a string of often disappointing dates, and search tirelessly as if love were a lost item. To be considered a success in any field, you must outcompete, outwork, and outmaneuver all of your rivals in a never-ending battle for supremacy. This culturally celebrated path of constant and often frantic doing is precisely what leads so many to a state of profound frustration, deep-seated resentment, and debilitating burnout. It creates the persistent feeling that you are trying to push a giant, impossibly heavy boulder up a treacherously steep hill, and the very moment you pause to catch your breath, it immediately rolls right back down to the bottom, forcing you to start all over again. The principle of I am completely inverts this exhausting and inefficient model of reality creation. It proposes that the most powerful and effective way to manifest change in your life is not through more frantic external action, but through a radical and deliberate shift in your internal state of being. You must first have the courage and the wisdom to become the person who already has what you desire, and you do this in the sacred, silent workshop of your own imagination. The doing, the external action, then becomes a natural, effortless, and joyful byproduct that flows automatically from this new, assumed state of being. Let us expand on the powerful analogy of a radio, because it is one of the simplest and most accurate ways to grasp this fundamental law of consciousness. Imagine the universe as a grand and infinite broadcasting station, simultaneously transmitting an endless number of potential realities, each on its own unique frequency. There is a frequency where poverty, struggle, and lack are the main broadcast. At the same time, there is another frequency where immense wealth, prosperity, and abundance are constantly playing. There is a frequency dedicated to loneliness, heartache, and isolation, and right next to it a frequency broadcasting deep love, connection, and soulful partnership. There is a frequency for sickness and disease, and another for vibrant, perfect health. All of these broadcasts, all of these potential realities are being transmitted right now in this very moment, and they are all equally available to you. You, your individual consciousness, are the living, breathing radio receiver. Your dominant state of being, the I am identity that you most consistently feel to be true about yourself, is the precise frequency that your receiver is currently tuned to. You would never try to force a radio station to play your favorite song by yelling at it or shaking it. That would be completely illogical and ineffective. You would simply and calmly turn the tuning dial on your receiver until it aligned with the frequency where you know your favorite song is already playing. The process is entirely internal, simple, and effortless. In exactly the same way, you do not need to struggle with or force the external world to give you what you want. You must simply turn the dial of your own consciousness through the power of your feeling and assumption to the frequency of the reality you wish to experience. The universe does not and cannot give you what you want. It can only ever give you a perfect, non-judgmental reflection of who you are being. This is a law as immutable as gravity. So, how does this revolutionary concept work in a practical, everyday sense? Let us use the common desire for financial abundance as our example. The old outdated model of doing would instruct you to get a second job, to work late into the night to chase after every single penny, and to spend your days worrying and stressing about your lack of money. This type of frantic, desperate action is being broadcast from a deep-seated frequency of lack, a feeling state of I don't have enough. And so the universe, in its role as the perfect mirror, dutifully and precisely sends you more and more circumstances and experiences that match this frantic, needy energy of lack, keeping you trapped in the cycle. The new, enlightened model of being asks you to do something radically different. It asks you to first go within yourself, to quiet the noise of the external world, and to have the audacity to assume the feeling of what it would be like to be financially secure and abundant right now, in this very moment. You would close your eyes and ask, what would I feel like if all my bills were paid? If money flowed to me easily and effortlessly? You would undoubtedly feel a sense of profound relief washing over you. You would feel generous, secure, and a deep sense of peace that is the opposite of the anxiety of lack. This feeling, this internal emotional state, is the act of you consciously tuning your receiver to the vibrational frequency of wealth. When you consistently and deliberately marinate your mind in this feeling of I am wealthy, a subtle but powerful change begins to take place deep within you. You will start to think different thoughts that are aligned with abundance rather than scarcity. You will suddenly notice business opportunities that were completely invisible to you before. You might have a brilliant, inspired idea for a new product or service, or you might suddenly find the unshakable confidence to walk into your boss's office and authoritatively ask for the raise you know you deserve. Your actions are no longer born from a place of desperation and neediness, but from a place of inspired alignment with your new state of being. The doing becomes easy. It feels natural. It even becomes joyful because you are no longer trying to swim against the powerful current of your own limiting beliefs. You have instead aligned yourself with the mighty universal current of abundance, and that current is now carrying you forward with grace and ease toward your destination. This is the critical distinction between struggling for a result and allowing a result to unfold naturally. The external world, with all its skepticism, constantly tells you, "I will believe it when I see it with my own two eyes." But the universe, the creative power of God, operates on the exact opposite and more powerful principle. You will see it in your world when you first believe it in your heart. Your chosen state of being must always precede the physical evidence. You must have the courage to dare to assume the identity, the feeling, and the consciousness of the person you wish to become long before your bank account, your relationships, or your physical body shows you any proof that you are. This is the ultimate and most rewarding act of faith. It is not a blind faith in some external, capricious deity, but a firm and unshakable faith in the creative power of your own consciousness, your own wonderful human imagination. So, stop chasing the butterflies of your desires, for they will always fly away from you. Instead, turn your attention inward and begin to build a beautiful, lush, and irresistible garden within your own mind, a garden filled with the feelings of your wishes already fulfilled. When you do this, the butterflies of your desires will have no choice but to come and land gently upon you. Your current physical reality is nothing more than a lagging indicator, a shadow cast by your past consciousness. If you wish to accurately predict the reality you will experience in your future, you need only to look at the I am state you are choosing to occupy with your feelings and attention right now. This is not a call for laziness or for a complete cessation of action. It is a call for a new kind of action, smarter action, divinely inspired action that flows effortlessly from a place of internal power and fullness, not from a place of external weakness and lack. Embody the state of being you desire first. The doing will then take care of itself. Chapter 3. The loyal servant in your mind. To truly grasp the power you're about to unlock, you must first understand the landscape of your own mind. It is not a single entity, but a kingdom composed of two very different yet interconnected realms, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is the part of you that is awake and aware right now, the part that is reading these words and making judgments about them. It is the king on the throne, the one who thinks, reasons, analyzes, and makes choices. It is the part of you that sets goals and feels desire, the part that says, "I want a new home," or "I want to be healthy." But for all its authority, the king on the throne is surprisingly limited in its power to create. The real power, the silent, unstoppable force that carries out the decrees of the kingdom, lies with your subconscious mind. Think of your conscious mind as the captain of a great ship, standing on the bridge, looking at the maps and deciding the destination. The subconscious mind is the massive, powerful engine room deep within the ship and the vast crew that operates it. The engine room doesn't question where the ship is going. It doesn't look at the maps, and it doesn't care if the destination is a tropical paradise or a field of dangerous icebergs. Its only job is to obey the commands sent down from the bridge and to turn the giant propellers with all of its immense power. It will faithfully and tirelessly steer the ship in the direction it has been commanded to go, without question and without fail. This subconscious servant controls, according to many scientific studies, up to 95% of your life. It is the automatic pilot that runs your existence while your conscious mind is busy thinking about what to have for dinner or worrying about tomorrow. It is the master puppeteer behind your habits, both good and bad, from brushing your teeth in the morning to automatically reaching for a cigarette when you feel stressed. It is the source of your deepest and most ingrained beliefs about yourself and the world, the very lens through which you perceive reality. It even controls the magnificent and complex machinery of your body, from regulating your heartbeat and your breathing to digesting your food and healing a cut on your finger. This servant is unbelievably powerful, far more powerful than you can currently imagine, but it has one very peculiar and crucial characteristic. It takes everything you say to it with absolute, literal seriousness. Your subconscious mind has no capacity for humor, sarcasm, or negation. When you make a joke to a friend and say, "Oh, I'm such an idiot for forgetting my keys," your conscious mind knows it's a light-hearted comment. But your subconscious mind, the loyal servant, hears the command, "I am an idiot," and it makes a small note in its ledger, subtly reinforcing an identity of forgetfulness and incompetence. It cannot and will not filter your statements. It accepts all of them as blueprints for reality. This is why the common practice of using negative language is so destructive. When a parent tells a child who is carrying a glass of milk, "Don't spill that milk," the subconscious mind largely ignores the word "don't" and focuses on the powerful image of "spill that milk." The command it receives is one of spilling, making the unwanted action far more likely to occur. A more effective, conscious command would be, "Carry the milk carefully to the table," which provides a clear, positive instruction for the subconscious to follow. Consider how this plays out in your own life every single day. When you look at your mounting bills and say, "I am drowning in debt," your subconscious servant salutes and says, Aye, Captain, drowning in debt it is," and it proceeds to attract more circumstances that align with the feeling of drowning. It will blind you to opportunities for abundance and highlight every instance of lack to prove that your command is true. When you go through a difficult breakup and declare, "I am just unlucky in love," you have just handed a life sentence to your loyal servant. It will then work tirelessly to ensure that you continue to have bad luck in love, perhaps by making you feel insecure around potential partners, or by attracting people who are emotionally unavailable, all in a perfect, faithful execution of your stated identity. Your life as it exists today is the flawless, magnificent, and undeniable physical manifestation of all the commands, both conscious and unconscious, that you have been feeding your subconscious mind for your entire life. The good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly are all reflections of the seeds you have been planting in this fertile inner garden. For most of us, we have been planting these seeds completely unconsciously, allowing the weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity from our past and our environment to grow wild and choke out the beautiful flowers of our true desires. But here is the most glorious and liberating truth you will ever hear. You are the captain of the ship. You are the king of the kingdom. You are the master gardener. At any moment, you can choose to stop the unconscious programming and begin the process of conscious, deliberate creation. You can start giving new orders, new commands, and new blueprints to your ever-obedient servant. Your subconscious mind is not your enemy. It has only ever been doing exactly what it thought you wanted it to do, based on your dominant thoughts and feelings. It is waiting right now with all its unimaginable power for you to step into your role as the rightful master and give it a new, clear, and empowering direction. You must stop speaking from a place of reaction to your current reality and start speaking from a place of command over your future reality. You do not need to fight your old programming or feel guilty about the reality you have created thus far. That was the work of a captain who was asleep at the wheel. Today, you are waking up. You are taking your rightful place on the bridge, and you are about to learn how to speak the language that the engine room understands. This language is simple, it is direct, and it is built upon the foundational creative power of the words, "I am." Your subconscious is your most powerful ally, your greatest treasure, and the key to manifesting a life of your own conscious choosing. Learn to speak to it with love, with clarity, and with authority, and it will move heaven and earth to bring your desires into being. You hold the scepter of command, it is time to wield it. Chapter 4. Finding your invisible chains. Before you can build a magnificent new palace, you must first become aware of the old, crumbling foundation upon which you have been living. Before you can truly run free, you must first see and then break the invisible chains that have been holding you captive. Right now, as you live and breathe, you are bound by these chains. They are not made of iron or steel, but of something far more powerful and insidious. They are forged from your own limiting beliefs. These beliefs operate as your default "I am" statements, the unconscious programming that runs your life from the shadows. They are the invisible walls of the prison you have unknowingly built around yourself. A prison so familiar that you have come to mistake it for the entire world. You cannot escape a prison if you do not know you are in one. Therefore, the first, most crucial act of liberation is the act of pure awareness. It is the act of turning on the light in a dark room to finally see what has been tripping you up for all these years. These chains, these limiting beliefs, were not forged by you, not originally. They were placed upon you, often with good intentions, from the moment you were born. You absorbed them from your parents, who may have struggled financially, and passed down to you the belief that money is scarce and hard to come by. You absorbed them from your teachers, who may have told you that you weren't particularly gifted in a certain subject, leading to the belief, I am not smart. You absorbed them from society and the media, which constantly project images of ideal bodies, leading to the belief, I am not attractive enough. A single painful experience can also forge a powerful chain. A difficult and messy romantic breakup can lead to the deeply ingrained belief, I am unlovable, or all relationships end in pain. A business venture that fails can create the heavy chain of I am a failure, a belief that then prevents you from ever taking a risk again. These are not just memories. They have become active, living components of your identity, silent commands that your loyal subconscious servant works to validate every single day. Now it is time to become a detective of your own mind, a seeker of your own hidden truths. For the next 7 days, your primary mission is to find and identify these invisible chains. This requires you to become a vigilant observer of your own internal world, specifically your automatic thoughts and your spoken words. Carry a small notebook and a pen with you everywhere you go, or use a notes app on your phone. Your task is to write down every single limiting thought or statement that you catch yourself making throughout the day. You are looking for the subtle and not so subtle ways you define yourself and your world in a negative or restrictive light. Listen for the obvious phrases that begin with I am, such as, I am so tired, I am always late, or I am terrible with names. But you must also become a detective of the more sneaky and disguised beliefs. These often hide behind phrases like I can't, as in, I can't afford that, which is really a declaration of I am poor. Or I always, as in, I always mess things up, which is a powerful command for your subconscious to orchestrate failure. Listen for I never, as in I never get the lucky breaks, a clear instruction to the universe to pass you by when distributing good fortune. Pay close attention to generalizations like all men are or all women are, as these are beliefs that will dictate the kind of partners you attract. Be especially aware of phrases that begin with, it's just the way I am. This is one of the most powerful and self-sabotaging statements of all, as it implies a permanent, unchangeable state of being. As you perform this exercise, there is one rule that is more important than any other. You must do it without judgment. You are not a bad person for having these thoughts. You are a human being who has been unconsciously programmed. Your role here is not that of a judge, but that of a neutral scientist or a curious journalist, simply gathering data. Do not scold yourself when you write down a negative belief. Instead, you might even silently thank your mind for revealing it to you, for bringing another chain out of the darkness and into the light. At the end of the 7 days, take some quiet time to sit down and look at the list you have compiled. This list is one of the most important documents you will ever read, for it is the blueprint of the reality you have been living. Read through the phrases, and as you do, look at the corresponding areas of your life. If your page is filled with beliefs like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, and I don't deserve it, look at your career, your relationships, and your income. Do you see the perfect correlation between these inner beliefs and your outer circumstances? If your list contains statements like, my body is weak, I always get sick, or my family has a history of this illness, look at the state of your physical health. The connection will be undeniable, and it may be shocking. This moment of seeing, of truly understanding the direct link between your inner world of belief and your outer world of experience is a profound turning point. It is the moment you stop blaming the world, your boss, your parents, or your luck, and you realize that the power has been within you all along. You realize that you have not been a victim of circumstance, but a victim of your own unexamined beliefs. This realization is not a cause for despair. It is the ultimate cause for celebration. Because if your beliefs created the reality you don't want, then you can consciously choose new beliefs to create the reality you do want. The simple, non-judgmental act of seeing your chains is the first and most powerful step toward dissolving them. Awareness itself is a potent form of alchemy that begins to loosen their grip. These chains, which felt so solid and real, are ultimately made of nothing more than thought, and anything made of thought can be unmade and remade by a more powerful, more conscious thought. You are shining a brilliant light into the dark and dusty corners of your mind. You are waking up from a long slumber, and your freedom is at hand. Chapter 5. The feeling is the fuel. So many who stumble upon this great law become frustrated when they do not see immediate results. They repeat their affirmations endlessly. They write their desires down 100 times, yet their reality remains stubbornly unchanged, a perfect reflection of their old state. They conclude that this law does not work, that it is mere wishful thinking or a pleasant fantasy. But they are like a baker who has meticulously combined the finest flour, sugar, and eggs, yet has forgotten the most essential ingredient of all, the one that makes the cake rise, the heat of the oven. The words, "I am," are the ingredients, but the feeling you generate is the heat that activates the alchemical process. A statement of "I am," no matter how beautifully crafted or how many times it is repeated, is utterly powerless if it is not accompanied by the corresponding feeling. Simply repeating the words, "I am wealthy," while your entire body is vibrating with the familiar gut-wrenching feeling of lack is like pressing the accelerator and the brake pedal of your car at the same time. You generate a great deal of internal noise and friction, but you ultimately go nowhere. The subconscious mind, your loyal and powerful servant, does not truly respond to the words you speak with your lips or think with your conscious brain. It responds to the language of the heart, the silent vibrational language of pure feeling. An "I am" statement without the genuine feeling of its truth is like an empty boat with a magnificent sail, sitting motionless on a windless sea. The feeling is the powerful and invisible wind that fills the sail and propels the boat effortlessly toward the shore of your fulfilled desire. Modern science is beginning to catch up with this ancient wisdom, providing a fascinating glimpse into the mechanics of this process. When you experience a strong emotion, your brain releases corresponding chemical messengers called neuropeptides, which then travel throughout your entire body. Your body's trillions of cells have receptor sites for these chemicals, meaning every cell is literally feeling what your mind is thinking. A sustained state of fear or anxiety bathes your cells in stress hormones like cortisol, while a sustained state of joy or gratitude bathes them in life-affirming endorphins. Furthermore, research from institutes like the HeartMath Institute has shown that the human heart generates a powerful electromagnetic field, a field that is 60 times greater in amplitude and up to 5,000 times stronger than the electrical field generated by the brain. When your heart and your brain are in a state of coherence, when you are feeling a positive, elevated emotion like gratitude or love, this field becomes more orderly and powerful, broadcasting a clear, strong signal out into the quantum field of all possibilities. This is not poetry, it is physics. The feeling you generate is a literal, measurable frequency that you are broadcasting to the universe. The universe, in turn, which is made of pure energy and information, responds to your broadcast not by judging it, but by simply matching it. It sends you people, circumstances, and events that are a perfect vibrational match for the frequency you are emitting. So when we speak of feeling, it is important to make a distinction between a fleeting emotion and a sustained state of being. An emotion is often a temporary reaction to an external event, like a flash of anger when someone cuts you off in traffic, or a moment of sadness when you hear a sad story. A state of being, on the other hand, is a deeper, more abiding feeling that you consciously choose to cultivate and inhabit. The goal is not to chase fleeting emotional highs, but to deliberately cultivate the sustained feeling, the quiet and confident inner state of your wish already being a present fact reality. This, then, is the most important question. How do you generate the feeling of a reality that your five senses tell you does not yet exist? This is the true work, the great art of conscious creation. There are several pathways to generating this feeling, and you must find the one that works best for you. The first pathway is through memory. Even if you desire something you have never had before, you have almost certainly experienced the core feeling associated with it. If you desire greater wealth, you may not have been a millionaire, but you can likely remember a time when you received an unexpected gift or bonus and felt that wonderful sensation of surprise, gratitude, and security. Your job is to find that feeling in your memory bank, no matter how small or distant. Pull it into the present moment and amplify it. Let that feeling of security and gratitude expand until it fills your entire body, letting it become your dominant state, even for just a few minutes. The second and most powerful pathway is through your divine imagination. Your imagination is not a childish tool for daydreaming. It is the sacred creative workshop of God. It is the place where all things are first created before they manifest in the physical world. To use it effectively, you must create a short, simple, vivid mental scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Do not just see this scene as if you are watching a movie on a screen in your mind. You must step into the movie, become the main character, and experience it with as many of your spiritual senses as you can muster. What would you see with your own eyes if your wish were true? What would you hear? What would you touch? What would you smell or taste? And most importantly, how would this sensory experience make you feel in the pit of your stomach and the center of your chest? For example, if your desire is for a loving partner, do not just imagine a fuzzy image of a person's face. Instead, imagine the feeling of a wedding ring on your finger, the solid, cool weight of it. Imagine you are in your kitchen, leaning against the counter, and you hear the sound of your partner's keys in the front door, and you feel a wave of warmth and happy anticipation wash over you. It is this feeling, this wave of warmth and relief, that is the prayer. It is the fuel. The body is the ultimate barometer of truth for the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind can be fooled with words, but your body cannot be lied to. If you are affirming, "I am calm and at peace," but your shoulders are tensed up to your ears and your stomach is churning with anxiety, your body is telling you what your real dominant feeling is. You have not yet convinced yourself of this new truth. The goal is to repeat your assumption, to marinate in your imaginative scene until you feel a noticeable physical shift. You might feel your shoulders relax. You might take a deep, natural sigh of relief. You might feel a warmth spread through your chest. This physical relaxation, this sigh of relief, is the moment of conception. It is the signal that your subconscious mind has accepted your new state as a reality. You have successfully impressed it with the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Ancient scriptures have told us that the prayer of faith shall save the sick. People have misinterpreted this for centuries, thinking it means praying with words and hoping something outside of you will hear and grant your request. The true meaning is that the prayer is the assumption of the feeling, and the faith is the unwavering belief in the reality of what you have assumed, even when the world of Caesar shows you the opposite. This kind of prayer is always answered, because it is not a request at all, it is an alignment. It is you tuning your personal frequency to the reality you wish to experience, and that reality then has no choice but to manifest in your world. Your feelings are the bridge between the invisible world of spirit and the visible world of form. Without feeling, your desires remain as ethereal blueprints, locked away in the realm of potential. By infusing them with the powerful fuel of feeling, you give them the life force they need to cross the bridge and become solid, tangible realities in your life. So from this day forward, stop just saying your affirmations, instead start feeling your reality. Set aside time each day, even just 10 minutes, for what we will call a feeling session. Go to a quiet place where you will not be disturbed, close your eyes, and choose just one of your great desires. Then do nothing but immerse yourself completely in the feeling of its absolute fulfillment. Feel the relief, feel the joy, feel the gratitude, and let that feeling saturate every cell of your being until it feels more real than the chair you are sitting on. This is the real work. This is the sacred science of prayer, and it is the only fuel that can power the engine of creation. Chapter 6. The Art of Assumption, your bridge to a new reality. We have now established that feeling is the secret, the potent fuel that brings your desires to life. Now we must learn the specific art of how to use this fuel, the precise technique for building a bridge from your current reality to the reality you wish to inhabit. This art is called assumption. To assume in this spiritual context does not mean to guess or to suppose something might be true. It means to accept something as a present, undeniable fact within the theater of your own mind, long before there is any physical evidence to support it. It is the radical and courageous act of claiming your desire as yours now, not in some distant future. Most people live in a state of hoping, wanting, or wishing. Hope is a beggar's plea, admitting that you do not have what you desire and are dependent on outside forces to maybe, someday, grant it to you. Wanting is a powerful declaration of lack, constantly reaffirming the absence of your desire. Assumption, however, is a royal decree. It is the calm, quiet, and confident occupancy of the state of the wish fulfilled. It is the end of the journey, experienced in imagination before it begins in the physical world. The most potent and receptive time to practice this art of assumption is in that magical, mystical state between full wakefulness and deep sleep. The great spiritual teacher Neville Goddard referred to this as the state akin to sleep, or say TS, and it is the golden key to impressing the subconscious mind. Why is this state so incredibly powerful? Throughout your waking day, your conscious mind stands as a vigilant and skeptical guard at the gate of your subconscious. It analyzes everything, it doubts, it fears, and it constantly brings up past failures and present problems, effectively blocking most of your new, positive intentions from ever reaching the creative depths of your subconscious. But as you begin to drift off to sleep, this conscious guard becomes drowsy. Its grip loosens, its skepticism fades, and the thick veil separating the conscious and subconscious realms becomes thin and permeable. In this hazy, dreamlike state, you have direct, unfiltered access to the powerful engine room of your mind, the loyal servant who accepts your impressions without question. An impression made upon the subconscious in this state is like a seed planted in the most fertile soil imaginable, under the perfect conditions for growth. It will be accepted as truth, and your subconscious will then work tirelessly through the night and into your waking hours to bring that seed to full bloom in your physical world. The mechanics of this sacred practice are simple, elegant, and profoundly effective. You must first know exactly what you want, but you must define it in terms of the end result, the state of the wish fulfilled. Do not concern yourself for a single moment with the how it will come about, the means or the process. The how is the domain of the universe, of that larger intelligence that can see pathways and connections that are completely invisible to your limited conscious mind. Your only job is to define the what and to live in the feeling of that end result. Once you are clear on your desired end, you must then construct a short, simple, and specific scene that implies your wish has already been fulfilled. This is a crucial point that many people miss. You do not imagine the moment of receiving the desire, as that can still imply a sense of striving or reaching. Instead, you imagine a simple, natural scene that would take place after your desire has already been a reality for some time. For example, if you desire to be married to a specific person or to be in a committed, loving relationship, you would not imagine the wedding ceremony itself. You might instead imagine a simple scene where you're lying in bed and you casually reach over and feel the smooth, solid wedding band on your finger or on your partner's finger. Or you could imagine a friend saying to you, "I can't believe it's already been a year since your beautiful wedding," and you feel a swell of quiet joy and contentment. If you desire a new job or a promotion, you would not imagine the moment of the interview or the moment you receive the offer letter. You might instead imagine sitting at your new desk, feeling the armrests of your chair, smelling the faint scent of coffee in your office, and seeing your nameplate on the door. The scene must be short, static, and focused on a simple sensory experience. The goal is to make it so simple that you can easily loop it in your mind without effort. Once you have your scene, you will perform the following ritual each night as you are lying in bed ready for sleep. First, relax your body completely, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Allow yourself to enter that pleasant, drowsy state akin to sleep, where you are no longer fully conscious of your physical surroundings, but are not yet fully asleep. Now, in this receptive state, you begin to play your short, imaginative scene. You loop it over and over again like a very short film. As you repeat the scene, you must infuse it with feeling. You must strive to give it all the sensory vividness and tones of reality. Feel the ring on your finger. See the nameplate on the door. Hear your friend's congratulatory words. You continue to loop this scene with feeling until it begins to feel so real that you are no longer consciously directing it. It feels as if it is happening to you. The ultimate goal is to fall asleep while you are in the middle of this loop, to drift off into unconsciousness while feeling the deep satisfaction and relief of your wish being a solid fact. This is the act of impregnating the subconscious mind. You are giving your loyal servant its final command for the night, and it will accept this feeling state as its primary directive. What happens next is where the magic truly unfolds. Having successfully impressed your subconscious mind with your new reality, the universe will begin to orchestrate a series of events to lead you from your present state to the physical fulfillment of your assumption. This pathway is what is often called the bridge of incidents. This bridge will be built in a way that your conscious mind could never have conceived. It will often seem completely natural, and sometimes it may even involve events that, on the surface, seem negative or counterintuitive. You might assume the feeling of having your dream job, and the very next day you get laid off from the job you hate. The conscious mind would panic, seeing this as a disaster, but it is actually the first plank in the bridge of incidents, clearing the way for something better to enter. You might assume the feeling of being in a loving relationship, and then you have an argument with a friend that leads you to cancel your usual Friday night plans, and you decide on a whim to go to a local art gallery instead, where you meet your future partner. You must develop an unshakable faith in this process, and trust that every event, whether it seems good or bad, is a necessary part of the bridge leading you to your destination. This art of assumption is not just a nighttime ritual. It is a new way of living. You must learn to wear the feeling of your wish fulfilled as if it were a set of clothes you put on in the morning. Throughout your day, you must do your best to think from your wish fulfilled, not of it. Thinking of your desire keeps it separate from you, something you are still chasing. Thinking from it means you are mentally living in the end result. When a negative thought or doubt arises, as it inevitably will, you do not fight it. You simply acknowledge it and then gently but firmly return your attention to your assumption, to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must be more loyal to your inner unseen reality than you are to the outer visible world of facts and figures. Let us close this chapter with a clear, actionable plan. Tonight, choose one single important desire that you wish to manifest. Create a short, simple, sensory-rich scene that implies its fulfillment. Then, as you lay in bed tonight, relax your body, enter the state akin to sleep, and loop that scene with feeling until you drift off. Commit to performing this sacred ritual for a minimum of 21 consecutive nights without fail. This consistent practice will saturate your subconscious mind with your new identity, and you will begin to see your world reshape itself in the most miraculous and natural of ways, all because you mastered the divine art of assumption. Chapter 7. Crafting Your Commands, the Rules of Power. We have explored the power of the subconscious mind and the essential role of feeling in activating that power. We have also learned the sacred art of assumption, the technique for impressing our desires upon this creative medium. Now, we must turn our attention to the specific tools we use in this creative process, our words. Language is not merely a tool for communication with others, it is a primary tool for programming the very reality we experience. Just as a computer programmer must use a precise and logical syntax to write a functional piece of software, so too must we use a precise and powerful syntax to program our subconscious mind for success, health, and happiness. Sloppy, unconscious language leads to a buggy and unpredictable life, a reality that constantly crashes or produces unwanted errors. To become a master creator, you must become a master of your inner language. There are 3 simple but unbreakable rules for crafting your I am commands, your creative decrees. Adhering to these rules will ensure that your message is delivered to your subconscious servant with absolute clarity, leaving no room for misinterpretation or failure. These are the fundamental rules of power. The first and most important rule is this: your commands must always be stated in the present tense. Your subconscious mind is a timeless and literal entity. It has absolutely no concept of the past or the future. It lives and operates exclusively in the eternal, unending moment of now. Any command you give it that is phrased in the future tense is, to the subconscious, a command to keep that desire forever in the future. When you say, "I will be wealthy," you may consciously think you are setting a goal, but your subconscious mind hears a very different instruction. It hears the command to maintain the state of will be wealthy, a state of perpetually being on the verge of wealth, but never actually arriving there. The future is a concept that never becomes a reality, because by the time you get there, it is simply another now. Therefore, you are commanding your servant to keep wealth at arm's length, always on the horizon, always something you are moving towards, but can never grasp. The same is true for phrases like, "I am going to find love," or "I want to be healthy." These are commands for more wanting, more going to, more searching. To make your commands effective, you must claim your desire as a present tense fact. You must rip it out of the imaginary future and anchor it firmly in your present moment of awareness. The transformation is simple but profound. "I will find love" must become the powerful declaration, "I am loved." "I hope to be healthy" is replaced by the vibrant reality of "I am vibrantly healthy and full of energy." "I am going to get that promotion" transforms into the confident assumption, "I am a successful and valued leader in my company." This shift from future tense to present tense is the difference between asking for a meal and sitting down to eat it. It is the core of all effective manifestation. The second rule of power is that your commands must always be stated in the positive. Your subconscious mind, in its literal interpretation of your commands, does not process negative words like not, no, or don't. It operates on imagery and feeling, and to understand a negation, it must first create the very image you are trying to avoid. This is a well-documented psychological phenomenon known as ironic process theory. If I tell you with great emphasis, "Do not think of a bright pink elephant," what is the very first thing that pops into your mind? A bright pink elephant, of course. Your mind has to conjure the image in order to understand what it is supposed to not think about. And in doing so, it reinforces the very thought you are trying to suppress. This is why so many well-intentioned affirmations fail miserably and can even be counterproductive. When you declare, "I am not sick," your subconscious mind largely ignores the word "not" and focuses on the powerful, emotionally charged word "sick." It receives the command, "I am sick," and dutifully gets to work creating the experience of sickness in your body. When you affirm, "I am free from debt," your servant hears the instruction, "I am debt," and it works to keep you in the vibrational state of debt, even if your conscious intention is the opposite. The command, "I don't want to be lonely," is a perfect prayer for more loneliness, because lonely is the operative feeling-laden word that gets impressed. You must become skilled at reframing your desires into a purely positive light. You must state what you do want, not what you don't want. Instead of, "I am getting rid of my debt," you must command, "I am financially free and prosperous." Instead of, "I do not have anxiety," you must declare with feeling, "I am calm, centered, and at perfect peace." Instead of, "I am not a failure," you must embody the identity, "I am successful in all that I do." Always move towards the light, towards the desired state, and never define yourself by the darkness you are leaving behind. The third and final rule of power is to make your commands personal, to claim them as a core part of your identity. This is the subtle but crucial difference between stating "I have" and declaring "I am." "I have" implies possession of something external to you, something that can be lost or taken away. "I am" implies a fundamental state of being, an intrinsic quality of your very identity. When you say, "I have a lot of money," you are describing a possession. This possession can create anxiety because possessions can be lost, but when you declare, "I am wealthy," you are stating a fact about who you are. A wealthy person is someone from whom wealth naturally flows. It is their nature, not just their circumstance. Think of it like an apple tree. An apple tree does not simply have apples as external attachments. It is an apple tree, and therefore the natural, effortless result of its being is the production of apples. You do not want to just have love in your life. You want to be a loving and loved person, a being from whom loving relationships naturally blossom. You do not want to just have a healthy body. You want to be a healthy, vibrant being whose natural state is one of wellness. Shifting your commands from I have to I am is the key to creating profound and permanent change. It is an identity-level shift. When you change your core identity, your entire world must rearrange itself to conform to that new blueprint. Now it is time to put these rules into practice and to become the architect of your new reality. Your exercise for this chapter is to create your own personal I am portfolio. Take a piece of paper and create 3 sections: health, wealth, and love, or any other areas of your life that are most important to you. Under each heading, craft 1 or 2 powerful I am statements that strictly adhere to the 3 rules of power. They must be present tense, they must be purely positive, and they must declare an identity. For example, I am the embodiment of perfect health and boundless energy. I am a magnet for money and prosperity flows to me easily and consistently. I am deeply loved and adored, and I enjoy a perfect, harmonious relationship. Read these statements aloud. Do they feel powerful? Do they resonate within you and stir a positive feeling? Adjust the words until they feel like a perfectly tailored suit of power. Once you have your core portfolio of I am commands, your final task is to choose one method of reinforcement and practice it daily. You might choose to stand in front of a mirror each morning, look yourself in the eye, and repeat your declarations with feeling and conviction. You might choose to write them down in a journal every night before bed, an act known as scripting. Or you might record your own voice speaking these commands and listen to the recording as you fall asleep. By consciously crafting your commands according to these rules, you are no longer leaving your reality to chance. You are stepping into the role of the master programmer, writing clear, elegant code that will create a life of your own deliberate choosing. Chapter 8. When the ego fights back. The moment you begin to wield this incredible power, the moment you first stand before the mirror and declare with newfound conviction, I am wealthy or I am loved, you will almost certainly hear another voice. It will be a small, sharp, and cynical voice from the back of your mind, and it will say something like, "No, you're not, you liar, just look at your empty bank account." Or when you close your eyes and assume the feeling of perfect health, this voice will whisper, "Don't be a fool, remember how much your back hurt this morning?" This voice is your ego, and its sudden, fierce resistance is the most predictable and also the most misunderstood part of this entire creative process. The emergence of this inner critic is not a sign that you are doing something wrong. On the contrary, it is the ultimate proof that you are finally doing something right. It is a sign that you have begun to challenge the old regime, that you have started a revolution within your own consciousness, and the old guard is now rising up to defend its territory. To navigate this crucial stage of your transformation, you must first understand the true nature of the ego. Your ego is not your enemy. It is not some evil entity trying to sabotage your happiness out of spite. The ego is, in essence, your mind's primary security guard, a deeply programmed and fiercely loyal protector whose sole job is to maintain the status quo and keep you safe within the confines of what is known and familiar. Your current identity, with all its limitations, pains, and frustrations, is the identity that has, up to this point, successfully kept you alive. To the primitive, survival-oriented part of your brain from which the ego operates, this familiar identity represents safety, predictability, and survival. Your new, expansive I am statement, on the other hand, represents a radical change, a leap into the unknown and to the ego. The unknown is always perceived as a potential threat. When you declare, I am confident and successful, the ego immediately cross-references this new data with its vast files of your past experiences. It pulls up every memory of failure, every moment of embarrassment, every time you were told you weren't good enough, and it presents this evidence to you as a warning. It is screaming, "Stay back, it's not safe out there. Remember what happened last time? Let's just stay here in the familiar misery of, I am not good enough, because at least we know how to survive that." This internal conflict is a well-known psychological phenomenon called cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort experienced when holding 2 or more contradictory beliefs or values at the same time. Your new belief, I am worthy, is in direct conflict with the old deeply ingrained program of I am unworthy. The ego's frantic resistance is its attempt to resolve this dissonance by attacking the new, unfamiliar belief and forcing you back into alignment with the old established one. Now here is where most spiritual seekers make a critical mistake. Their natural instinct is to fight back against this voice of doubt. They argue with it. They try to suppress it. They get angry at themselves for having these negative thoughts. This is a battle you can never win, because fighting the ego is like trying to wrestle with your own shadow. You will only exhaust yourself and make the shadow seem larger and more powerful. When you argue with the voice that says, "You're not wealthy," you are giving it your precious attention and energy, which only validates its existence and strengthens its position. You are engaging it on its own terms, on the battlefield of logic and past evidence, where it will always have the upper hand. The correct and far more powerful approach is not one of conflict, but one of calm, detached acknowledgement and gentle redirection. You must treat your ego not as a mutinous traitor, but as a frightened and misguided child who is simply trying to protect you in the only way it knows how. The next time that voice of doubt rises up, you will perform a simple three-step process of peaceful mastery. First, you will simply notice the voice without judgment. Just observe it as you would observe a dark cloud passing in the sky, recognizing that you are the vast unchanging sky, not the fleeting cloud. Second, instead of arguing, you will silently or verbally acknowledge its presence with a sense of compassionate understanding. You will say, "Thank you for sharing. I hear your concern, and I understand that you are just trying to keep me safe based on past experiences." This simple act of acknowledgement is profoundly disarming. It takes the wind out of the ego's sails, because it is no longer being met with resistance, which is the very thing it expected and thrives upon. Third, after thanking it for its service, you will gently but firmly reaffirm your chosen reality. You will continue your inner conversation by saying, "However, that was the old story. I am now choosing a new reality and writing a new script. And in this reality, I am wealthy, I am loved, I am safe and secure." Then you immediately return your full attention and feeling to your desired state. You do not wait for the ego to agree. You do not seek its permission. You simply state your new truth with quiet authority and shift your focus. Think of it like training a wild puppy. When the puppy chews on the furniture, you don't scream at it and engage in a battle of wills. You calmly say no, and then you immediately give it a new, appropriate chew toy to focus on. Over time, through gentle and consistent redirection, the puppy learns where its energy should be directed. Your ego is that puppy, and your new "I am" assumption is the chew toy you are training it to focus on. The resistance you face will not only be internal. As you begin to change your inner state of being, you may be surprised to find that your external world puts up a fight as well. This is because the people in your life, your friends, your family, your co-workers, have all become accustomed to the old you. They have a vested interest, often unconscious, in you staying the same because it keeps their own world predictable and stable. When you stop complaining about being broke, your friends who bond with you over shared financial struggles might feel uncomfortable. When you start speaking about your new business venture with confidence, a family member who is used to you playing it safe might say, "That's not very realistic, is it? You should be more careful." You must understand that this external resistance is nothing more than the physical world acting as a mirror, reflecting the internal battle that is still raging within you between your old self-concept and your new one. Do not argue with these people any more than you would argue with your own ego. Simply smile, thank them for their concern, and remain steadfastly loyal in your heart to the new reality you are creating. As you persist in your new assumption, as you consistently starve the old negative states of your attention and feeling, something miraculous will begin to happen. The voice of the ego will begin to quiet down. It doesn't die, it doesn't disappear completely, but it begins to understand that its old scare tactics are no longer working. It sees that you are no longer reacting with fear, and it starts to accept that this new state of being might actually be safe after all. The resistance lessens, the internal friction subsides, and your new I am state begins to feel less like an effort and more like your natural default identity. This process requires patience and persistence. It is a marathon, not a sprint. There will be days when the ego's voice is loud and convincing, and there will be days when it is barely a whisper. Your only job is to remain the calm, non-reactive observer, the master of your inner kingdom, who refuses to be drawn into the drama of the court. You are the silent authority who listens to all counsel, but ultimately makes the final decree. The battle of the ego is the primary reason why so many people give up on this work just before their breakthrough. They mistake the final, desperate screams of the old identity for a sign of failure, when in reality, it is the darkness that comes just before the dawn. Embrace this resistance as a rite of passage. Welcome it as a signpost that you are on the right track, that you are powerfully challenging the limitations that have held you captive for so long. Be kind to yourself during this process. Be compassionate with the part of you that is afraid of change, but be absolutely unwavering in your commitment to your new, chosen identity. You are the creator. You are the operant power, and the ego is merely a tool, a security guard that must now learn to take orders from a new, conscious and empowered master, you. Chapter 9. I Am Healthy. Speaking life to your cells. For far too long, we have been conditioned to see our bodies as mere biological machines, intricate collections of flesh and bone that are subject to the cold, unforgiving laws of genetics, aging, and random chance. We have been taught that our health is something largely outside of our control, a lottery ticket drawn at birth, leaving us as passive victims to whatever ailments or weaknesses our physical form happens to develop. This disempowering belief is one of the most pervasive and destructive invisible chains that holds humanity captive. Today we are going to shatter that chain by introducing a new, more ancient and far more powerful truth. Your body is not a machine. It is a magnificent field of intelligent consciousness, and every single one of its trillions of cells is constantly and attentively listening to the commands of your mind. The most undeniable scientific proof of this mind-body connection is the well-documented phenomenon of the placebo effect. In countless rigorous double-blind medical studies, patients given a simple sugar pill, a saline injection, or even a sham surgery, but told they are receiving a powerful new treatment, often experience a remarkable, and sometimes complete, healing of their condition. What is it that is actually healing these people? It is not the inert substance they are being given. It is the power of their own belief, the power of their shift in consciousness from a state of "I am sick" to a state of "I am healing." Their firm belief, their unwavering assumption that they are being cured, is a direct command that activates the body's own miraculous internal pharmacy. The body then begins to produce the precise chemicals, hormones, and immune responses necessary to bring about the healing that the mind has accepted as a fact. Equally powerful, but far more sinister, is the placebo's dark twin, the nocebo effect. This is when a person's negative belief or expectation creates a negative physical outcome. Patients who are told a harmless sugar pill may have negative side effects will often begin to manifest those very side effects. People who are told by a doctor, "You have an incurable disease and only 6 months to live," can have their own belief in this death sentence literally shut down their body's life-sustaining systems, sometimes leading to death right on schedule, even when later autopsies reveal the initial diagnosis was wrong. These are not fringe New Age concepts. They are established medical facts that point to a staggering conclusion. The ultimate authority in your health is not the doctor, the diagnosis, or the drug. It is the belief, the consciousness, and the I am identity that you hold regarding your own body. You must begin to think of your body not as a single entity, but as a vast and cooperative community of over 30 trillion intelligent citizens, your cells. You are the leader, the king or queen of this vast inner nation. Your thoughts, your feelings, and your words are the decrees that you broadcast from the palace, which are then transmitted instantly to every citizen in your kingdom. When you constantly think and say, "I'm so tired and weak," you are sending out a royal decree for your citizens to slow down their energy production and to operate in a state of fatigue. When you focus on a pain in your back and say, "My bad back is killing me," you are commanding the cells in that area to continue to manifest pain and dysfunction. This language of ownership, my bad back, my weak immune system, my allergies, is a powerful act of identity. You are not just describing a temporary symptom, You are incorporating the illness into the very fabric of who you are, making it a permanent fixture in your kingdom. The time has come for a new form of leadership, one based on love, empowerment, and life-affirming commands. One of the most powerful chains we must break is the belief in genetic determinism. The idea that we are doomed to suffer the same diseases as our parents or grandparents. The phrase, "it runs in the family," is one of the most potent curses you can utter over your own body. The revolutionary science of epigenetics has now proven that while we may inherit a certain genetic predisposition, our genes are not our destiny. Genes are more like blueprints than fixed realities, and it is the environment of the cell that acts as the contractor, reading the blueprint and deciding which parts to build. And what is the primary factor that creates your body's internal environment? It is your consciousness, your thoughts and feelings, which are translated into the chemical language that bathes your cells every moment of every day. By consciously choosing to live in a state of "I am healthy," you are creating an internal environment that instructs your genes to express their healthy, life-affirming potential, effectively turning off the predispositions for disease. You are not a victim of your DNA. You are the master conductor of your genetic orchestra. To reclaim your role as the benevolent and powerful ruler of your physical kingdom, you must begin a daily practice of speaking life to your cells. This is a sacred ritual of self-healing that involves 4 key stages. The first stage is forgiveness. You must consciously forgive your body for any perceived weaknesses, illnesses, or pains it has expressed in the past. You must also forgive yourself for all the years you have held negative, critical, and fearful thoughts about your body. This act of forgiveness releases the heavy, energetic anchor of past grievances and opens the door for a new relationship based on love and cooperation. The second stage is gratitude. You must cultivate a profound and genuine sense of appreciation for the miracle that your body is. Instead of focusing on the one part that hurts, you will shift your attention to the 99% that is working perfectly. Take time each day to thank your heart for beating over 100,000 times without a single conscious command from you, to thank your lungs for breathing in the gift of life, and to thank your immune system for silently protecting you from countless threats. This state of gratitude bathes your cells in healing neuropeptides and creates a powerful magnetic field of coherence and health. The third stage is commanding. This is where you will use your powerfully crafted "I am" statements to issue new life-giving decrees to your inner nation. You will stand with authority and declare, "I am the embodiment of perfect health and divine vitality." You will speak directly to your cells, saying, "Every cell in my body is intelligent and knows how to heal and regenerate itself perfectly. I am overflowing with boundless energy and strength." You must speak these words not as hopeful wishes, but as statements of ultimate truth. The fourth and final stage is visualization. Close your eyes and use the power of your imagination to see and feel this healing taking place. You might visualize a brilliant golden white light flowing into the crown of your head and cascading down through your entire body, flooding every organ, tissue, and cell. See this light as the pure intelligence of the universe, dissolving any and all traces of imbalance or disease, and restoring every part of you to its divine blueprint of perfect health. Feel the warmth, the tingling, the deep sense of peace as this healing energy does its perfect work. It is also vital to understand that this inner work does not necessarily mean you should abandon all conventional medical help. Instead, it means you should use this inner power to align yourself with the best possible outcome. When you embody the state of "I am healthy," you will be guided to the right doctor, the right treatment, or the right nutritional plan that is in perfect harmony with your healing. Your actions will become inspired actions born from a place of empowerment, not desperate actions born from a place of fear. You will no longer see a doctor as someone who fixes you, but as a partner who assists your body's own innate and powerful healing intelligence, which you have activated. Your body is a miracle, a self-healing organism of unimaginable complexity and intelligence. It wants to be healthy. Its natural state is one of vibrant wellness. All that is required is for you, its conscious leader, to stop feeding it commands of fear and sickness and to start nourishing it with the powerful, life-giving truths of your own divine nature. You are not a fragile machine destined to break down. You are a flowing river of life, and you have the power to direct that current towards the brilliant ocean of perfect health. Chapter 10. I am prosperous, breaking the scarcity spell. Let us now turn the brilliant light of this principle upon one of the most charged and misunderstood areas of human existence: money, wealth, and abundance. We must begin by understanding that true prosperity is not about the number of digits in your bank account or the accumulation of material possessions. Prosperity is a state of consciousness, a deep and abiding inner feeling of security, sufficiency, and an open-hearted flow, a state where you know with every fiber of your being that all of your needs are and always will be met with grace and ease. Most of humanity, however, is not living in this state. They are living under a powerful and deeply hypnotic trance that we shall call the scarcity spell. This spell is cast upon us from our earliest days, and its power is reinforced at every turn by our society. It is a collective nightmare, a shared belief system that there is not enough to go around, and that life is a brutal, competitive struggle for limited resources. Before you can break this spell, you must first become aware of the specific incantations that are holding you personally captive. You must unearth the deep and often hidden roots of your own beliefs about lack. For many, these roots were planted in childhood by well-meaning parents who, living from their own state of lack, constantly repeated phrases like, "We can't afford that," "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "You have to work your fingers to the bone just to get by." These phrases were not just words. They were powerful hypnotic suggestions that installed a deep program in your subconscious mind, a program that equates money with struggle, pain, and limitation. Society and culture then add their own powerful layers to the spell. We are shown movies that glorify the starving artist and are often taught to be suspicious of the wealthy, to believe that rich people must be greedy, dishonest, or unhappy. Many religious traditions have also been misinterpreted to suggest that poverty is a sign of piety, and that desiring wealth is somehow unspiritual or a sign of moral failing. All of these influences combine to create a thick web of guilt, shame, and fear around the entire subject of money. You must take an honest and fearless inventory of your own mind. What was the first thing you ever learned about money? What are the automatic, negative thoughts that pop into your head when you think about paying your bills, or when you see someone who is incredibly wealthy? These are the threads of the spell that are binding you. The first step in breaking this spell is to completely reframe what money actually is. Money is not paper, it is not metal, and it is not a number on a screen. Money is simply a neutral form of energy, a tool we have created as a society to facilitate the exchange of value. It is like electricity. It is not inherently good or evil. It simply amplifies whatever it is flowing through. In the hands of a generous and loving person, money becomes a tool for immense good, capable of healing, building, and uplifting. In the hands of a fearful and greedy person, it can become a tool for harm. The money itself is innocent. By seeing money as neutral energy, you strip it of its emotional and moral charge, which allows you to desire it without the heavy baggage of guilt and shame. You can then begin to see it not as something you must desperately chase, but as something you can consciously and gracefully attract by becoming an energetic match for it. This requires a fundamental shift from the consciousness of lack to the consciousness of abundance. A person living in the consciousness of lack wakes up, and their first thought is about what they don't have. They see the world through a lens of competition, believing that someone else's success somehow diminishes their own chances. They hoard their resources, are afraid to spend or invest, and live in a constant state of low-grade anxiety about the future. Their dominant feeling is one of tightness, of constriction, and of not enough. A person living in the consciousness of abundance, however, wakes up with a feeling of gratitude for what they already have, no matter how small it may seem. They see the world as a place of infinite opportunity and collaboration, believing that there is more than enough for everyone. They are generous with their resources, knowing that money is a current that must flow, and they live with a sense of calm trust in the universe's provision. Their dominant feeling is one of openness, of expansion, and of more than enough. You cannot become prosperous by thinking the thoughts of a poor person. The great sin, spiritually speaking, is trying to get. When you are desperately chasing money, You are screaming to the universe with your every action that you do not have it. Your frantic energy of neediness is a powerful broadcast on the frequency of lack, and so the universe, in its perfect obedience, can only send you more experiences of lacking and needing. The great secret is to stop chasing and to start being. You must have the spiritual audacity to assume the feeling and the identity of a prosperous person long before your physical reality reflects it. This is achieved through a daily ritual of becoming a magnet for prosperity, a practice of breaking the spell. The first part of this ritual is a financial purge. You must sit down and consciously forgive every single financial mistake you have ever made. Forgive yourself for the bad investments, the impulse purchases, the missed opportunities. You must also release any anger, blame, or resentment you hold towards anyone else regarding money. This act of forgiveness cuts the heavy, energetic cords that tie you to a past defined by lack. The second part is the rigorous practice of gratitude. You must become a detective of your current abundance. Be outrageously grateful for the roof over your head, for the food in your refrigerator, for the very fact that you have money, even if it's just a few coins, to exchange for goods and services. Begin to bless every dollar that comes into your life with gratitude, and bless every dollar that goes out, sending it forth with the knowledge that it will circulate and return to you multiplied. This practice shatters the energy of lack and tunes you to the frequency of sufficiency. The third part is to embody the I am wealthy state. This is not about being arrogant or flashy. It is about cultivating the inner feeling of what it would be like to have no financial worries. That feeling is primarily one of security, of freedom, of peace, and of generosity. Spend time each day closing your eyes and just feeling that sense of deep relief, the feeling of being able to provide for yourself and your loved ones with ease, the feeling of being able to give generously without a second thought. This feeling is the magnetic attractor. From this new state of being, your actions will change. You will no longer take desperate action like working a soul-crushing job just for the paycheck. Instead, you will find yourself taking inspired action. You might suddenly get a brilliant idea for a business that you are passionate about, or you might find the confidence to pursue a career that brings you both joy and great financial reward. Finally, you must understand the powerful paradox of giving. In a universe of flow, you must give in order to receive. This is not a transaction with God. It is a law of energy circulation. When you give, whether it is your time, your expertise, a compliment, or your money, from a genuine feeling of abundance, you are making a powerful statement to the universe. You are declaring, I have so much, I have more than enough that I can afford to give this away. This act of faith opens up a vacuum that the universe rushes to fill, sending more abundance back to you to match the state from which you gave. Your wealth is not out there somewhere for you to find. It is inside you waiting to be unlocked. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. Begin today to break the scarcity spell. Declare your new identity with unwavering faith. I am a perfect expression of abundance. I am wealthy, prosperous, and financially free. Embody this truth, feel this truth, and watch as the world of form rearranges itself to match the magnificent, prosperous being that you have finally claimed yourself to be. Chapter 11. I am loved, the ultimate source of connection. Of all the great human desires, the yearning for love is perhaps the most profound, the most universal, and the source of our greatest joys and deepest sorrows. We search for it in the faces of strangers. We hope for it in the messages on our phones, and we chase it with a desperation that can consume our very lives, believing that our wholeness is dependent on finding that one special person who will finally complete us. This frantic external search is the greatest misunderstanding when it comes to the nature of love, for it is based on the false premise that love is a commodity to be acquired, something that exists outside of you and must be earned or won. But the universe, in its perfect and unwavering wisdom, operates on a much deeper law. It does not give you what you want, it gives you who you are. You can never ever find love outside of yourself. You can only ever find a perfect and undeniable reflection of the love that you are already embodying and giving to yourself. If your inner world is a landscape of self-criticism, unworthiness, and emotional abandonment, then the outer world has no choice but to send you partners and relationships that perfectly mirror that inner state back to you, not as a punishment, but as a divine and loving feedback mechanism designed to show you where you are not yet loving yourself. This is the great and often painful secret of romantic relationships. Every person you attract into your life is a mirror. If you consistently attract partners who are emotionally unavailable, it is a direct reflection of the ways in which you are emotionally unavailable to your own needs and your own heart. If you find yourself with partners who are critical and judgmental, it is because you are housing a relentless inner critic who judges your every move with harshness and contempt. If you attract those who betray your trust, it is a call to examine the ways in which you betray yourself, by breaking promises you make to yourself, or by ignoring the wisdom of your own intuition. To change the reflection, you must be brave enough to stop staring at the mirror and turn your gaze inward, to the source of the image itself. The lifelong search for love finally comes to an end, not when you find the right person, but when you finally become the right person. The ultimate source of all connection, the magnetic force that draws true and lasting love to you, is the conscious and deliberate embodiment of the state, I am loved. This journey does not begin on a dating app. It begins in the quiet and sacred space of your own heart. The foundation of this state is the practice of radical self-love, a concept that has been distorted into ideas of selfish indulgence, but is in truth the most unselfish act you can perform. It is not selfish to fill your own cup, for it is only from a full and overflowing cup that you can truly give to another without depletion or resentment. To love yourself is to become a radiant sun, warming all who come near you, rather than a hungry black hole, constantly trying to pull energy and validation from others. The first and most powerful practice in cultivating this state is what is known as mirror work. This practice is simple in its instruction, but can be profoundly challenging in its execution, for it forces you to confront the image you have been running from. You are to stand in front of a mirror, gaze deeply into your own eyes, past the surface-level judgments about your appearance, and connect with the consciousness that is looking back at you. Then, speaking aloud, you will begin to declare your new truth. You will say, I love you, I truly, deeply love you, and accept you exactly as you are right now. At first, this may feel incredibly awkward, even ridiculous. The voice of the ego will scream that you are a fool, that you have no reason to love yourself, and it will list all of your perceived flaws and failures as evidence. You must persist. You must continue to gaze into your own eyes and repeat these words of love and acceptance day after day. Slowly, something will begin to shift. The resistance will soften, and you may find tears welling up as you begin to feel a flicker of genuine compassion for the person in the mirror, a person who has been starved of their own affection for so long. This is the ice of self-rejection beginning to crack. You are starting to come home to yourself. The second pillar of this practice is to become the benevolent and loving parent to your own inner child. Most of our feelings of unworthiness stem from the wounded child within us, the part that absorbed negative messages and felt unseen or unloved. You must now consciously take on the role of the perfect parent you always needed. This means becoming the vigilant guardian of your own inner dialogue. When you catch yourself in a moment of harsh self-criticism, you must immediately intervene, just as a loving parent would if they heard a stranger bullying their child. You will stop the negative thought and say, no, we do not speak to ourselves that way. The truth is, I did the best I could with what I knew at the time, and I am learning and growing every day. You will replace the voice of the inner critic with the voice of the inner champion. This constant and compassionate reparenting heals the deep wounds of the past and builds a foundation of unshakable self-worth that is not dependent on anyone else's approval. The third pillar of embodying I am loved is the non-negotiable act of honoring your own needs and setting firm boundaries. Self-love is not a passive feeling. It is an active practice demonstrated through your choices. It means saying no to requests that drain your energy or violate your values, even if it disappoints others. It means scheduling time for your own rest, your own joy, and your own passions, treating these appointments as just as sacred as any business meeting. Every time you set a healthy boundary, you are sending a powerful message to your subconscious mind and to the universe. I am worthy of respect. I am worthy of being cherished and protected. As you engage in these practices, you are no longer just saying the words, I am loved. You are weaving this truth into the very fabric of your being through your actions. You are beginning to generate the specific emotional frequency of a person who is deeply and unconditionally loved. This frequency is one of wholeness, of peace, of contentment, and of a quiet, radiant confidence. You will find that your desperate need for a partner begins to dissolve, not because you have given up on love, but because you have finally found its true and inexhaustible source within yourself. And here is the beautiful and divine paradox. The very moment you no longer need a relationship to feel whole is the precise moment that a healthy, whole, and loving partner will be irresistibly drawn to you. Your radiant energy of self-love acts as a lighthouse, a brilliant beacon in the night that can only be seen by ships that are sailing on the same high frequency. You will no longer attract partners who need fixing or who are meant to be your project, because your own wholeness no longer resonates with their brokenness. You will instead attract a partner who is also whole, someone who is drawn not to your neediness, but to your light, and who desires to share their own completeness with you, not to fill a void. The love you will experience will not be a desperate, clinging love, but a free and expansive love between two sovereign beings who choose to walk together. It is a love based on joyful sharing, not on fearful need. This is the ultimate prize for your inner work. Your primary relationship must always be with yourself. Make that relationship one of profound, unconditional love and acceptance, and all other relationships will transform before your very eyes. Stop searching for your other half and focus instead on becoming so completely whole that the universe has no choice but to send you another whole person to share your magnificent journey with. Embody this truth, feel this truth, declare this truth. I am the source of love. I am whole, complete, and deeply loved right here, right now. Chapter 12. The 3-Day Mental Diet. We have now laid the foundation. We have understood the power of our subconscious mind, the necessity of feeling, and the art of assuming our desires as present fact. Now it is time to put your training wheels aside and engage in a powerful, intensive exercise that will dramatically accelerate your results and prove to you, beyond any doubt, that you are the supreme operant power in your own reality. This exercise is what we will call the 3-Day Mental Diet. Think of it as a deep spiritual and psychological detoxification, a rigorous boot camp for your consciousness designed to purge the accumulated toxins of years of negative thinking and to build a new and powerful muscle of mental mastery. This is not a passive exercise. It is one of the most demanding and also one of the most rewarding challenges you will ever undertake. For 3 consecutive days, from the moment you awaken on day 1 to the moment you go to sleep on the 3rd day, you will commit to a single, simple, and radical discipline. You will not allow a single negative thought or feeling to find a home in your mind. Let us be absolutely clear about what this means. It does not mean that a negative thought will never enter your awareness. For the untrained mind, that is an impossibility. The key is that you will not entertain it. You will not dwell on it. You will not analyze it. You will not indulge in it. And you will certainly not express it verbally. You must become the vigilant and unyielding guard at the gateway of your mind. And for these 3 days, you will grant entry only to thoughts that are in alignment with your highest good and your chosen desires. This diet has 3 fundamental rules, and your success depends on your strict adherence to them. The first rule is zero dwelling. The moment you become aware of a negative thought entering your mind, whether it is a worry about the future, a regret about the past, a doubt about your own ability, or a fear about your health or finances, you must immediately refuse to engage with it. Imagine your mind as a beautiful, pristine white room, and a negative thought as someone trying to walk in with muddy boots. You would not get angry at them or argue with them. You would simply and firmly block their entry and close the door. You will not follow the thought down its familiar rabbit hole of anxiety. You will not allow yourself to marinate in the toxic feelings of fear, anger, jealousy, or resentment. The second rule is immediate replacement. The act of simply suppressing a thought is not enough, for nature abhors a vacuum. You must immediately and consciously replace the unwanted thought with a chosen, positive, and powerful one. The most effective technique for this is what we will call the cancel and replace method. The very instant you catch the negative thought, you will silently, or if you are alone, aloud, say the word cancel or delete with a sense of authority. This acts as a conscious command to your subconscious mind to stop that particular train of thought in its tracks. Then, without a moment's hesitation, you will pivot your full attention to one of your chosen I am statements, or to the feeling of your wish already fulfilled. If the thought was, "I'll never be able to afford that," you will cancel it and immediately replace it with the feeling and declaration, "I am abundantly prosperous and money flows to me with ease." If the thought was a criticism of your body, you will cancel it and pivot to the state of, "I am vibrantly healthy and I love and appreciate my amazing body." This is not an act of denial. It is an act of conscious and deliberate redirection, a demonstration that you are the one who chooses what grows in the garden of your mind. The third and perhaps most challenging rule is no external negativity. For these 3 days, your diet extends beyond your own mind to the words that come out of your mouth. You will make a sacred vow to not engage in any form of negative speech. This includes complaining about anything, from the weather to your boss. It includes gossiping or speaking ill of another person, and it includes any form of self-deprecating humor or language of victimhood. You must understand that every word you speak is an affirmation, a spell you are casting into the universe. When you complain, you are affirming and reinforcing the state of dissatisfaction. When you gossip, you are immersing yourself in the low-frequency energy of judgment and separation. For 3 days, you must become a source of only positive, uplifting, and empowering speech, or you must choose the power of silence. So what can you expect when you undertake this profound challenge? The first day is often a shock. You will be stunned and perhaps even horrified to discover the sheer volume and intensity of the negative traffic that is constantly flowing through your mind. It will feel like you are spending the entire day just cancelling and replacing thoughts, a relentless game of mental whack-a-mole. Do not be discouraged by this. This is a massive victory. For the first time, you are becoming truly aware of the unconscious programming that has been running your life. This awareness is the necessary first step to changing it. By the end of day 1, you will likely feel mentally exhausted, but you will have gained a newfound respect for the work of mental discipline. The second day is often the day of the greatest battle. Your ego, your old identity, will realize that this is not just a passing whim, that you are serious about this change, and it will fight back with all its might. It will dredge up your most painful memories, it will amplify your deepest fears, and it will try to convince you that this entire exercise is foolish and impossible. This is the critical moment where most people give up. You must persist. You must see this resistance for what it is, the death throes of your old limited self. Each time you successfully cancel and replace a thought on this day, you are winning a major victory and significantly weakening the ego's hold on you. The third day is when the magic begins to happen. If you have been diligent, you will start to notice a palpable shift in your inner state. The mental chatter will begin to quiet down. There will be longer and longer periods of natural peace and clarity. The act of replacing a negative thought will become quicker and more automatic. You will begin to feel a sense of lightness, of freedom, and of profound inner power that you may have never experienced before. You will start to notice that the world around you seems to be responding differently to you, that people are kinder, that small synchronicities and opportunities begin to appear. This is the first tangible proof that as you change your inner world, your outer world has no choice but to follow suit. It is crucial that you do not judge yourself if you fail. If you find that you have unconsciously spent 10 minutes wallowing in a negative thought, do not condemn yourself and give up. Simply notice it, forgive yourself instantly, and begin the diet again from that very moment. The goal is progress, not perfection. This 3-day mental diet is more than just an exercise. It is a profound initiation. It proves to you through your own direct experience that you are not the victim of your thoughts, but the master of them. It cleanses your subconscious mind of old, toxic data and prepares the fertile ground for your new, consciously chosen seeds to grow without being choked by weeds. It is a declaration of your spiritual sovereignty, a powerful statement to the universe that you are ready to become the deliberate creator of your own blessed life. Chapter 13. The lag time. Why you must be patient. We have now arrived at one of the most crucial and often most challenging aspects of the creative process, a phase that tests your faith and determines whether your desires will blossom into reality or wither on the vine of doubt. This is the period we shall call the lag time, the natural and necessary interval between the moment you successfully impress your subconscious mind with your new reality and the moment that reality fully manifests in your physical world. This lag time is a divine and immutable part of the law, and understanding its purpose is the key to navigating it with grace and confidence. Think of yourself as a master farmer. When you plant a carrot seed in the ground, you have performed the essential creative act. You have placed the potential for the carrot into the fertile medium where it can grow. You do not then spend the next day digging up the seed every hour to see if it has sprouted. To do so would be absurd and would guarantee the seed's destruction. Instead, you trust in the unseen process that is taking place beneath the surface. You water the ground, you ensure it gets sunlight, and you have unwavering faith that the laws of nature are at work, transforming the invisible potential of the seed into the visible reality of the carrot. Your spiritual work operates on the exact same principle. Your consciousness is the farmer. Your I am assumption infused with feeling is the seed, and your subconscious mind is the fertile soil. The physical world, with its density and its own timeline, is where the growth takes place. There is a natural gestation period required for a thought form, an energetic potential, to gather momentum and coalesce into a hard, physical fact. A thought is the lightest, fastest form of energy. The physical world is the densest and slowest. It simply takes time for the unseen spiritual cause to produce its visible physical effect. This is not a flaw in the system. It is a feature designed for your protection. Imagine if every fleeting, fearful thought you had instantly manifested in reality. Your life would be a chaotic and terrifying nightmare. The lag time acts as a divine buffer, giving you the opportunity to stabilize your consciousness and to be truly certain about what you wish to create before it becomes your solid reality. The primary challenge during this lag time is that your 5 physical senses will continue to report a reality that is contrary to your chosen assumption. This is the great test of faith. Your senses are, by their very nature, reporters of the past. They can only show you what has already been created by your past state of consciousness. Your bank account statement is a historical document, a printout of your previous thoughts of lack. The reflection in the mirror is a lagging indicator of your old beliefs about your body. The current absence of a loving partner is simply the shadow cast by your former state of feeling unloved. During this gestation period, you are living between 2 worlds. You have the world of your 5 senses, which shows you the old, dying reality, and you have the world of your 6th sense, your imagination, which shows you the new reality that is being born. Your task, and it is the most important task you will ever have, is to give more belief, more attention, and more feeling to the unseen reality of your imagination than you do to the seen reality of your senses. You must learn to trust the feeling of the wish fulfilled more than you trust the facts that are presented to you by the world of Caesar. When a bill arrives in the mail after you have assumed the state of I am wealthy, you must not panic. To panic is to dig up the seed. Instead, you must look at the bill and calmly say, "This belongs to the old reality. It is merely a shadow from the past, and I am now living in a new reality of abundance." You then immediately return your mind and your feeling to your state of prosperity, perhaps by giving thanks for the fact that you have more than enough to meet every need. You must learn to live in a state of what can be described as royal indifference to the evidence of your senses. The great saboteur during this period is the constant nagging question, is it working yet? Every time you ask this question, you are reaffirming your disbelief. You are admitting that you do not truly feel that your desire is a present fact, and you are effectively neutralizing the impression you made on your subconscious mind. It is like constantly calling the restaurant to ask if they have started cooking your meal. It only demonstrates your lack of trust in the process. Instead of looking for the final manifestation, you must learn to look for what the ancient mariners called birds before land. When sailors had been at sea for a long time, they knew they were approaching land not because they could see the coastline, but because they would start to see birds flying overhead or find driftwood in the water. These were the subtle signs, the precursors, that their destination was near. In your creative process, the universe will send you these birds before land to encourage you and to let you know that you are on the right track. These are not the manifestation itself, but they are evidence of a shift in the current. You might be assuming the state of wealth and then find a $20 bill on the street. You might be assuming the state of love and then have a stranger pay you a beautiful compliment. You might be assuming health and then suddenly feel a burst of energy you haven't felt in years. You must learn to recognize and celebrate these small signs with immense gratitude. Acknowledge them as proof that the law is working and that your new reality is rapidly approaching the shores of your physical experience. This strengthens your faith and helps you to persist in your assumption. The length of the lag time is not fixed. It is determined by one thing and one thing only: the naturalness of your assumption. The more natural the feeling of your wish fulfilled is to you, the shorter the interval of time will be before its physical birth. Your work, then, is to make your new identity feel so completely normal and natural that it becomes your default state of being. You do this through consistent repetition of your imaginal acts, by living mentally in the end, and by refusing to give any power to the contrary evidence of your senses. The lag time is not a void to be endured. It is an active and sacred phase of creation. It is the time when you are solidifying your new self-concept, building your faith muscle, and demonstrating to the universe that you are truly ready to receive the gift you have claimed. Learn to love this period, to see it as the quiet, magical time when the great unseen forces of the universe are meticulously rearranging the stage of your life for the grand unveiling of your desire. Trust the process. The seed is growing. The law is infallible. Have patience, have faith, and remain steadfastly loyal to your unseen reality, and you will inevitably see it blossom into your world. Chapter 14. The Universe as Your Mirror. We are now venturing into one of the most profound and radically empowering concepts in all of spiritual science, a truth so simple yet so transformative that, once fully grasped, it will permanently alter the way you interact with your world. This is the understanding that your external world in its entirety is nothing more than a flawless, impersonal and breathtakingly accurate mirror reflecting your internal state of being back to you. There is no out there that is separate from you. Every person you meet, every situation you encounter, every word you hear, and every event that unfolds is a direct and immediate feedback mechanism, a living symbol showing you the contents of your own consciousness. When you stand before a physical mirror, you understand this principle perfectly. If you see a smudge of dirt on the face in the reflection, you do not try to wipe the mirror clean. You understand instinctively that to change the reflection, you must change the source. You must wipe the dirt from your own face. Yet when it comes to the great mirror of life, we spend our entire existence trying to scrub the reflection. We try to change other people. We fight against our circumstances. We blame the economy, we curse our luck, and we rage against the world, all in a futile attempt to alter the images being shown to us, never realizing that they are merely projections of our own inner state. The moment you truly and deeply accept that the world is your mirror is the moment you reclaim 100% of your creative power. It is the moment you graduate from being a victim of your reality to becoming the conscious creator of it. This is the doctrine of radical responsibility, and while it can be a difficult truth to swallow, it is the only truth that will ever set you free. Let us explore how this universal mirror functions in the practical areas of your life. Consider your relationships with other people. Every person in your life is playing a role that you have subconsciously assigned to them, a role that is in perfect harmony with your own self-concept. The world is a stage, and you are the casting director. If you hold a deep, unexamined belief that I am not respected, the universal mirror will cast people into your life to play the role of the disrespecter. Your boss will overlook your contributions, your partner will ignore your opinions, and even strangers will seem to treat you with a subtle lack of regard. These people are not the cause of your feeling disrespected, they are the effect. They are simply actors dutifully reading the lines that your own consciousness has written for their character. To change their behavior, you must rewrite the script. You must go within and begin to cultivate the deep, unshakable feeling and identity of I am respected. you must begin to treat yourself with the utmost respect in your own thoughts and actions. As you consistently embody this new state of being, a miraculous thing will happen. The people in your life will seem to change before your very eyes. They will either begin to reflect your new state of self-respect back to you, suddenly treating you with the deference and consideration you now command, or, if they are unable or unwilling to change their role, they will gracefully and often without drama exit the stage of your life, making way for new actors who are a perfect match for your new script. You never have to try to change another person. You only ever have to change your conception of yourself, and the reflection in the mirror must and will change accordingly. This same principle applies with absolute precision to your financial situation. If you look into the mirror of your finances and see an image of lack, debt, and struggle, this is a direct reflection of a consciousness steeped in beliefs of scarcity. It is a mirror image of inner statements like, "I am not worthy of wealth," or "money is hard to come by." Trying to fix this by working harder or worrying more is like trying to change the reflection of a frown into a smile by polishing the mirror. The only effective solution is to turn away from the frightening reflection and begin to cultivate a new inner state. You must assume the consciousness of prosperity, feeling the security and freedom of abundance within yourself, even when the mirror is still reflecting the old image of lack. As you persist in this new inner state, the mirror must, by law, begin to reflect this change. Opportunities will appear, inspired ideas will come, and your financial world will begin to reshape itself to conform to your new inner landscape of abundance. This concept of the universe as your mirror is not a call for self-blame. It is not about feeling guilty for the negative circumstances you have created. It is about moving beyond the childish game of blame altogether and stepping into the mature and empowered stance of radical responsibility. Blame, whether directed at yourself or at others, is a complete abdication of your creative power. Responsibility, on the other hand, is the reclamation of that power. It is the exhilarating realization that if your consciousness created the reality you do not want, then your consciousness can, with equal certainty, create the reality you do want. The practical application of this law involves a shift from reacting to creating. When you are faced with an undesirable situation, you must train yourself to immediately stop reacting to the reflection, and instead ask yourself a single, powerful question. What state of consciousness within me is this external situation mirroring? If your business deal falls through, instead of reacting with anger and blame, you will pause and ask, what belief in me is this failure reflecting? Is it a belief that I am not good enough, or that success is difficult? Once you have identified the inner cause, you can go to work on changing it. You will then ignore the temporary unwanted reflection and turn your full attention inward to assuming the feeling of the opposite state. I am a great success, and everything I do prospers. This is the art of living in the fourth dimension, of controlling the three-dimensional world of effects from the inner world of cause. You will stop being a reactive thermometer, which simply reflects the temperature of the room, and you will become a proactive thermostat which sets the temperature of the room. One of the most liberating aspects of this understanding is that it completely frees you from the need to control anything or anyone in the external world. Your only point of power, your only area of control, is your own state of consciousness. You can let go of the immense burden of trying to manipulate people and circumstances. You can simply relax into the knowledge that if you take care of your inner world, your outer world will take care of itself. This is true freedom. This is the peace that passes all understanding. As you begin to live by this principle, your life will become a fascinating and joyful adventure in self-discovery. You will start to see the world not as a random and chaotic place, but as a wise and loving teacher, constantly providing you with perfect feedback to guide you on your journey of growth and expansion. You will become grateful for the challenges, for you will see them not as obstacles, but as opportunities to identify and revise a limiting belief within yourself. You will see every person as a divine messenger, bringing you a piece of information about your own consciousness. This is the end of struggle. It is the beginning of a life of conscious, deliberate, and joyful creation. Embrace this truth with your whole heart. The world is your mirror. If you do not like the reflection you are seeing, do not fight with it. Turn inward, change the face you are making, and the reflection has no choice but to smile back at you. Chapter 15. Living Beyond Desire. The final. I am. We have journeyed together through the intricate and powerful mechanics of creation, learning how to use the divine law of assumption to bring our specific desires into tangible form. We have learned to become the masters of our minds, to wield the power of feeling, and to claim our ideal realities for health, for wealth, and for love. This is a magnificent and worthy use of the law, a divine right given to you to live a full, happy, and abundant life. Yet, as you become more adept at this practice, as you successfully manifest one desire after another, you may begin to notice a subtle and profound shift occurring within you. You will come to a point where you realize that the thrill was not actually in getting the thing itself. The joy was not in acquiring the car, or the house, or the relationship. The true, deep, and lasting joy was in the dawning realization of who you are, the exhilarating discovery that you were the creative power that brought it forth. It was the moment you proved to yourself, through your own experience, that you are not a puppet of fate, but the master consciousness that directs the entire play. This is the point where the student of manifestation begins to evolve into the mystic. You begin to move beyond using the law simply to rearrange the furniture in your life, and you start to inquire into the very nature of the creative power itself. You have used the statement "I am" as a tool, prefixing it with your chosen attributes. I am wealthy, I am healthy, I am loved. But now you will be drawn to explore the profound and silent mystery of the two words by themselves. Just I am. In this final stage of the journey, you begin to let go of the endless cycle of desiring, assuming, and manifesting. You have proven to yourself that you can have anything you want, and in that knowing, the desperate need for specific things begins to fall away. You realize that the search for things was always at its core a search for a feeling of peace, of security, of wholeness. And you now understand that this feeling is not found in the manifested thing, but is your natural state of being when you simply rest in the pure, unadorned consciousness of your own existence. To experience this, you will begin a new form of meditation, a practice of pure being. You will sit in silence, and instead of assuming the feeling of a wish fulfilled, you will simply and gently release all of your attachments, all of your labels, and all of your desires. You will let go of the identity of your name, your profession, your history, and your roles. You will let your attention sink beneath the noisy surface of the thinking mind, and you will come to rest in the vast, silent, and luminous awareness that is the source of all thought. In this silent space, you will find a single, undeniable truth, a knowing that requires no words but can be best described by the phrase, I am. This is not I am this or I am that. It is the pure, subjectless awareness of existence itself. It is the consciousness that was there before you were born and will be there after your body dies. It is the eternal, unchanging witness of all of life's passing shows. As you learn to rest in this state of pure I amness, you will discover the ultimate paradox. By mastering the tool that allows you to get everything you could ever desire, you arrive at a place where you no longer need anything because you have finally and truly realized that you are everything. In this state of pure being, there is no lack, for you are one with the infinite substance of the universe. There is no need for external love, for you are swimming in the infinite ocean of love that is your own consciousness. There is no fear, for you know that you are the indestructible, timeless awareness that can never be harmed. This is the state that the great sages and mystics have called enlightenment, liberation, or union with God. It is the end of the search. It is the return home. From this high plateau of consciousness, your relationship with the world changes completely. You may still have preferences, you may still engage in the act of creation, but you will do so from a completely different place. You will create not from a place of desperate need or a sense of lack, but from a place of joyful play and loving expression. You will create for the sheer delight of watching the universal power flow through you, as an artist paints not because they need the painting, but for the pure joy of the creative act itself. Your life will become a walking meditation, a continuous expression of the peace and wholeness that you have found at your core. You will see the divine spark, the same I am consciousness in every person you meet, and you will interact with them from a place of profound unity and compassion. The frustrations and anxieties of the world will lose their grip on you, for you will see them as the temporary and illusory dramas of the ego, while you remain rooted in the unshakable peace of your true being. You will have moved from a human being seeking a spiritual experience to a spiritual being having a joyful human experience. This is the ultimate fulfillment of the law. The paradox of I am is that it is both the tool for getting everything and the key to realizing that you already have everything. It is the bridge that leads you from the land of lack to the land of abundance, only to show you that you were the king of abundance all along. So I invite you now, as we close this journey together, to not only use the power of I am, but to seek to understand its source. Take time each day to be still, to go beyond your desires and to simply be with the silent, loving, and powerful presence of your own awareness. For in the heart of that stillness, you will find the ultimate secret. You are not just a drop in the ocean of existence. You are the entire ocean, contained within a single magnificent drop. You are and always have been that which you have been seeking. You are simply I am. We have arrived at the end of this journey of words, but it is the true beginning of your journey of being. You have walked through the corridors of your own mind. You have stood before the mirror of the universe, and you have been handed the master key to all of creation. That key is, and always has been, the magnificent and deceptively simple power contained within the two words, I am. These are not just words, they are the activating command for the universe, the sacred name of God, the definition of your own existence. For your entire life, you have been using this power unconsciously, creating a world by default, a world based on the fears, doubts, and limitations you inherited from the collective sleep of humanity. You have been a king who, suffering from amnesia, was living as a pauper in his own vast kingdom, unaware of the infinite riches that were his by birthright. This book was not meant to give you anything you did not already have. It was meant only to remind you of who and what you truly are. It was a call to remembrance, a loving shake to awaken you from the dream of powerlessness. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the sole and supreme cause of them. You are not a cork tossed about on the merciless ocean of life. You are the ocean itself, and the winds and the currents obey your silent, feeling-based commands. The journey we have taken has shown you the path from this remembrance to its practical application. You have learned that your subconscious mind is your loyal, unquestioning servant, ready to bring any blueprint you give it into form. You have learned that feeling is the fuel, the alchemical fire that transforms the invisible energy of thought into the visible reality of experience. You have learned the art of assumption, the sacred ritual of clothing yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, of living mentally in your desired reality long before it hardens into fact. You have learned to craft your commands with power, to speak the language of creation in the present tense, with positivity and with the authority of your own being. You have learned to face the resistance of your own ego not as a battle to be won, but as a frightened child, to be soothed and redirected with love and persistence. You have learned to see your body not as a failing machine, but as an intelligent community of life, joyfully responding to your loving decrees of health and vitality. You have learned to break the hypnotic spell of scarcity, to shatter the chains of lack, and to claim your divine inheritance of abundance by first embodying the consciousness of prosperity. You have learned that the desperate search for love ends the moment you turn that love inward, becoming the source of the affection you once sought, thereby magnetizing its perfect reflection into your life. You have learned to stand firm during the lag time, the sacred pause, trusting in the unseen process of growth with the same faith a farmer has for the seed planted in the dark earth. And finally, you have learned to see the entire universe as your personal mirror, a wise and loving feedback system that relentlessly shows you the state of your own consciousness, freeing you forever from the futile game of blame and control. But where does this journey lead? At first, it leads to a better life, a life with more health, more joy, more abundance, and more love. This is a beautiful and worthy destination. But if you persist, if you follow this path to its ultimate conclusion, you will arrive at a place beyond the desire for a better life. You will arrive at the source of life itself. You will move from using "I am" as a prefix to your desires to simply resting in the silent, blissful, and all-powerful state of pure "I am." You will realize that the ultimate purpose of this law was not just to give you what you want, but to reveal to you who you are. You are the creator. You are the dreamer of the dream. You are the uncaused cause, the awareness in which the entire universe appears and disappears. This is your true and final identity. You are not a human being who is learning to use a divine power. You are a divine power that has temporarily and wonderfully forgotten itself in the experience of being human. And now you are remembering. Take these teachings and do not just believe them, live them. Apply them with diligence, with faith, and with a spirit of joyful experimentation. Prove to yourself, through your own undeniable experience, the truth of your own magnificent power. The world is waiting for you to awaken and to consciously create a reality that reflects the love, the wisdom, and the beauty that is your true nature. You are the hope of the world, for the world is nothing more than the collective consciousness of all who live within it. As you awaken, as you raise your own consciousness, you contribute to the awakening of all humanity. The journey is yours. The power is yours. The kingdom is yours right here and right now. Walk forward in this new understanding, not as someone who is trying to become, but as someone who is finally, joyfully, and powerfully being.